road trip from Northern Virginia all the way up to Northern Michigan. So this is gonna be a tricky one, guys. Tesla Model X, it's cold, it's raining, all that stuff is rocking and rolling. That doesn't help efficiency, it doesn't help range, and we got a lot of miles to cover. So all in, this will be about a 1,500-mile road trip. Again, Northern Virginia, all the way to Northern Michigan, in a rainstorm, December into January. We're making it worse as we talk more. Let's put some miles in. All right, guys, the trip is set up right now. We are zeroed out. However, we've already actually been driving this morning. We went to pick up my son. We had to go all the way east and come all the way west. So we've already actually driven on trip A 74 miles. It's raining hard outside and it's cold. We're not getting good efficiency right now. That's okay. Since last charge, this is our main number that we're going to want to really take off and reset. So that's the one we're going to watch right there. So anyway, that's it. Put it in the wind. Let's start rolling. Cutting through downtown Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. Awesome little town, super cool place, super historic. One thing you really learn, guys, when you're driving around the United States is that you get a misconception for small town USA, because when you watch the news, you forget that what you're seeing right here is like 80% of the United States. Big buildings, big cities, it's just not it, man. And you don't really understand that until you start to really drive coast to coast, but small town is truly where it's at. So where are we on the trip? Trip A, we've done 116 miles. We're averaging 350 kilowatts a mile. Not really good, but considering that it's cold, we're in low 40s, windy and raining, I'll take it. 350. We're a little below that on our current trip since last charge, just by 348. So, 2 percentage points ain't nothing. But anyway, that's it. Berkeley Springs, quick check-in. Let's roll.
What I understand.
Driving in the mountains of Pennsylvania on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, guys, and look left, look right. We are at elevation, but it is cloudy and foggy. This is honestly one of the best times to be in a Tesla or a lot of different electric vehicles, because the car is watching. So even what I can't see, the car can see. So it's really important, right? The car is reading all the cars in front of me. I can't even see 3 cars up. The car is acknowledging it right now with its cameras. So that's a pretty cool feature when you really think about it when it comes to safety. And weather conditions like this, Tesla's gonna see it and react a hell of a lot faster than you will as a human. So pretty good stuff. A little zoomed in up there. This is on 3-power zoom. You can't see any of the cars up there. It's really, really tricky right now, to say the least. That's a semi-tractor trailer right there, guys. Just now saw it. Tesla knew it was there. I just now saw it. Tough conditions right now in the Pennsylvania mountains, boys and girls. Cutting through the mountains, guys. We are in Berlin, Pennsylvania. Still heading north, trying to get to Michigan. Weather's cold, rain's coming down. Heavy wind, steep mountain passes. I know, electric car can't be done. Well, we're doing it.
In fact, in ancient times.
All right, little catch up. We are clearly on the Ohio Turnpike. So we have went from Virginia into Maryland, into West Virginia, into Pennsylvania. And now we are in Ohio. How we doing? Okay, we have covered 314 miles. We're averaging 350 watt miles. So not too bad, just under 3 miles. I think that's like 2.9, somewhere in there. I can do the math in a minute, but somewhere about there, about 2.9 miles a kilowatt. But guys, we're rolling right now. So we've been rolling at between 80 to 85 for probably the last 75 miles. Traffic is wide open up here on the Ohio Pennsylvania Turnpike, and we're cooking. So colder weather, actually it's kind of warm. It all warmed up. 56 degrees is warm, but a little bit chilly, not too bad. It was very cold not too long ago, down in the 30s. Must have been up in elevation. And so far, honestly, we're not doing that bad. All right, you can't tell right here, but on the Ohio Turnpike, traffic was backed up for probably, what do you say, about 3 or 4 miles? Yeah. I don't know why I got the camera out late, but it's a good reminder. Always keep your gas tanks at a half tank or your batteries at a half charge, because you never know when that can happen and you're just sitting there in traffic for miles on miles on miles. Be smart.
Platform, it goes into.
All right, little catch up here. We are 432 miles into this trip. We're still hanging right at 358 watt miles, but again, we've been rolling. So speed limits out here are 70 to 75, and you can easily do 80 to 85. And every once in a while, you fall into some large groups of traffic that's just rolling. You might as well just roll. There's so many chargers that you don't have to worry about any kind of stress. Like, for example, watch the screen, right? So everybody will talk about, like, if you run out, watch this, population. Look at all those chargers. It's like, even where we are right now, at any point in time you see a red dot or a gray dot, I can pull in and supercharge. They're everywhere, right? So it's never a matter of, are you gonna run out? I mean, unless you're like upper Midwest, literally in the middle of nowhere, the chance of truly running out is so low. You have a better chance of running out of gas, for sure. Anyway, so right now, we're cooking 433 miles in. We're not doing too bad. Since the last charge 50 miles ago, we're averaging 370, but again, we've been cooking right now. So the faster you go in an EV, yes, you use more energy, just like you do in a car. So people always say that, like, if you go too fast in an EV, you burn up electricity. No shit, obviously you do, but you burn up gas going the same thing. Your car is way more efficient at 55 miles an hour than it is at 85 miles an hour. And everybody understands that with gas, but it's the first thing they say about electric. So because I have so many chargers so close, and even driving the way I am right now, it still has me arriving at my next charger with an 18% buffer zone. So I don't care about a charge. Like, knowing that kind of stuff, you can really kind of hang it out. Let me show you what I mean here in just a second. So this has me arriving with 18% buffer. So basically a quarter tank of gas, i.e. a quarter percentage of battery. So I don't care. If I start driving hard or traffic starts going away or my percentage starts dropping too low, then it's simple electric car. You simply decrease your speed, and by decreasing the speed, you dramatically increase your range. But right now, the computer's doing all the calculations. We're cooking. I'm going a little bit quick, but there's no animals, just me and my oldest son, and we're literally just rolling with traffic. Passing some slow bodies, but we're not even keeping up with what traffic's really doing. So pretty cool, staying efficient, working up by them Great Lakes, just outside of Toledo, and then quickly into Detroit. We're doing well. All right, guys, we are in Ohio, but literally about to cross into Michigan here. So we're we're just outside of Toledo, and we're coming up into Michigan here, and I think in literally just a few minutes, on the big old bridge right here, crossing over, I don't know what river. Did you see a sign for that river? No, I didn't see a sign either, but that's okay. Downtown Toledo, we're on 280 north, but I think we're going to 75 north. Yep, 75 north to Detroit. Obviously, we ain't stopping in Detroit, but we got to go through Detroit. It's all good in the hood. Good old Toledo, Ohio. I would like to say it's beautiful, but it's not. And I like to say it's sunny and bright, but it's not. But Brick City, USA, man. These are the cities that really built the USA, and I wish more people would really understand that. Bunch of police cars running code up there in front of us. Welcome to Detroit. Much like Toledo, there's not much to see. From the interstate, no shade, but it's most of the burned down, boarded up houses. Everything you see from I-75 North cutting through Detroit is just not the good parts of Detroit. So nothing shady about Detroit, nothing against Detroit, but like when you're viewing Detroit from the corridors of I-75 North driving through it, it's not so visually appealing. But that's okay. It is what it is. This history, this city has a crazy history, long history. It's all good, nothing but love. That's the main part of the D right there, but that's not where all the problems are. The problems are where we just actually drove through, where all the burned down houses and everything are. But anyway, onward and upward, northern Michigan, we're rolling. Cut through downtown Detroit now. They've done a lot of revamping on I-75 actually, so I've made this trip a lot, many times, and I know this road pretty well. I know where the projects are off to the side. I know where most of the exits, where all the burned down houses you want to avoid, absolutely. But there's been a lot of changes here along I-75, so that's kind of cool. We're definitely not going to downtown south. Make sure we stay north. But yeah, Detroit's an interesting city to say the least. All right, guys, we're just doing a little sightseeing. We are on 8 Mile Road in Michigan. In Detroit, 8 Mile Road. Remember the old movie, 8 Mile, Eminem? Not much to see on old 8 Mile Road, I can tell you that. But we're not just doing sightseeing, I'm actually going to a charger. And there's actually a Tesla charger way down this road, believe it or not. So that's where we're going, to the 8 Mile Road Supercharger in Detroit. Do a little, everybody grew up watching that movie, and the road is real, but it was real back then, it's real now, and it's probably just as much of a shithole now as it was back then. The only difference is damn near everything here is closed. Everything. Boarded up and closed. I mean, 90% of the businesses you drive past right now are boarded up and closed. Crazy. When you find yourself in Utica, Michigan, which you got to drive to get here, but when you find yourself in Utica and your buddy has a badass shop, awesome toy store right here. Look at that Sergeant Reds. Look at that, look at that. We here. Slide in. This is top secret operation. Top secret operation. Let's do this. All right, guys, it is day 3 of this trip. We've been slacking on the videos because we got hella busy, but that just is what it is. But we're still tracking everything, and we're going to be updating this right now. We're over 610 miles into it. We're on the 3rd day. We got here at about 5:80. The car's been kind of parked since then. Going to grab some Starbucks. But no, right now with 600 miles in, cold, up here in Michigan, doing this, blah, blah, blah. We're still averaging 350 watt miles an hour. So it's our kilowatts used a mile. Jeez Louise. Anyway, let's get it going.
Excited to kind of learn more.
All right, man, on that rebound trip, coming back through Detroit, we're still cooking and looking, rocking and rolling. This trip is a really good time, man, and it's a really good example of how you can travel across the country in a Tesla, even in the middle of January, and have zero issues, zero glitches. Everything just works. Ain't the case with all electric vehicles, so don't forget that. It can be a little bit dicey, and I've owned a couple different brands. It can be really, really dicey if you're not in a Tesla. However, right now, we traveled 643 miles over the course of 3 days. Nothing big at all. It was about a 550-mile drive, and we've been camping for 2 days. Now we're driving back. But we're averaging 358 watt miles. Guys, we're cruising on these trips. I mean, we're not doing 55 and just, you know, tooling. We're rolling. So the same way, again, that high speed, high drag, high internal use of the vehicle from air conditioners and heaters and all that stuff, the same way that makes a gas vehicle less efficient, it does the same thing with an electric vehicle. So I could obviously get better, but you can see on the bottom, trip B, if you go to our overall for this vehicle, 39,000 miles almost, and we're averaging 3.3 watt miles a mile. I mean, that's really good. And I think I just missed my turn. Yep, just missed my turn. Darn it. All right, I just did the one thing that I advise everybody not to do when you're traveling through an unknown area, but especially Detroit. And I've been through Detroit quite a bit, and quite a bit enough to know, don't miss your turn. Do not, under any circumstance, miss your turn when you're in the D, because like different blocks can have a different result that could probably affect your life or the life of people trying to take your life. So yeah, we're gonna make this U-turn, get right back on old I-75 North and keep cooking. Like, why is this guy stopped at a green light, right? Gotta observe that, you gotta be aware of that. Not only that, but the roads in Detroit are some of the worst in the country. So the odds of getting a flat tire, getting a pinch flat, it's really high, man. So you gotta be really, really, really careful. All right, quick little detour, that's all good. Quick detour, and we are back on 75 North. Cooking, rocking and rolling. Old baseball field right there. Ford Stadium right there. Yep. I'll be honest though, man, I said this come through the first time. The downtown area of Detroit it looks a lot better. Still looks bad, but it looks a hell of a lot better than what it looked just 3 or 4 years ago. They're definitely revitalizing along the 75 corridor, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks a lot better. Alex, doing okay, Bubba? Yeah. Doing good. 2 passengers, cars loaded down. December, what's the day? 27th, 26th? I don't know. 28th, December 28th, Virginia to Michigan, back to Virginia. A lot of cold, tons of hills, tons of mountains, tons of traffic, tons of rain. We've been driving in a rainstorm for I think about 3 days. So the damage right now again, let me go back to this for a second. This isn't that long of a road trip. We're just over 1,000 miles. but it was drive to Michigan, hang out, drive around the little town of Utica, and then drive back down. So trip combined right now, we're on trip A, 1,000 miles underneath our belt, and we're averaging 366 watt miles. So that's not really that good, to be honest with you. It's about 2.5 miles a kilowatt, so about 2.5 miles per percent used, if that makes any sense. Easy to do the math on that, easy to track it. The only reason it's not all that good is because, again, it's really cold. We've been driving really fast. We've been staying with traffic, just is what it is. I don't have any dogs with me. I'm gonna drive how traffic rolls. So when you're cruising at 75, 85 miles an hour, freezing cold, heavy headwinds, heavy mountains, heavy driving rain, much more rolling resistance when water's on the ground. All the stuff that affects gas, ICE vehicles also affects electric vehicles when it comes to range and things like that. So just something to think about, something to keep in mind. But anyway, so that's it right now. Again, we are at just over 1,000 miles on this trip. We are averaging 366 watt miles per kilowatt used, and we're rolling. And I will tell you a nasty little secret that Tesla does, and they got me on this trip, and it kind of makes me mad. I still have cruise control, obviously, but I don't have autopilot right now. Why don't I have autopilot? Listen, Tesla had to do some stupid update that has now made the Tesla so invasive to where if you literally pick up your phone, it'll damn near turn autopilot off. That's messed up, man. We have all electric cars. Nothing is as invasive as a Tesla. Nothing. Mercedes autopilot is just about as good as a Tesla, and you can literally like move around inside the vehicle. The car will drive itself. But Tesla gets such a bad rap, and they're under so much scrutiny that now they've damn near locked down the system to where like you've got to have your hands on the wheel. I know that sounds crazy, like, well, that's what you should be doing. Nissan allows for more movement than Tesla does. Honda, Ford, Mercedes, Chevy, Cadillac, all their autopilots. Subaru, you can turn those autopilots on. They work just like Tesla does. Tesla's much better, but they work the same in principle and methodology. And you can like let go of the wheel for a long duration of time. You can't do it in a Tesla no more on autopilot. They won't let you. So kind of annoying. So just to put things, I know. Just to put things in real. Now again, I'm on cruise control, but I do not have autopilot on. I can't even use it. It's restricted. But even though we're not getting good efficiency right now, we're not getting bad efficiency either. So to put it in perspective, we have 87% on our battery. Our destination is 153 miles away. So we're at 87%, down 13 from 100, obviously. We need to go 153 miles, but we're gonna arrive with 35% battery to spare. So really, if you take away the 13%, add it to 35, that brings us to 48%. So we're basically at 100%, gonna drive 153 miles and still arrive with almost 50% battery with what we're doing right now, which is clearly over an easy 300-mile range on a full charge on a Tesla Model X with 40,000 miles loaded down. Right now we're in beautiful driving conditions, but it hasn't been like this. So we're still doing good. And again, if you're driving on the interstate supercharged, I mean, it takes 15, 20 minutes max. By the time you walk in, use the restroom, come back out, your car's ready. And seeing is believing. So we got to go 152 miles still. We're at 87% charge. We're going to arrive with approximately 35. It's already telling us better because we're going a little slower at 37%. I mean, at 37%, 36%, 86% here, that's arriving with 50% reserve, guys. Like it really is. Like I know the numbers won't show 50, but we're taking away the top 13% from 100. So you got to account for that. But it's not bad, truly not bad.
Which is why I
want to do a real quick video just to show that if you do drop your speed pretty low, and even going 52 miles, I'm averaging 4 miles a percent right now for the last 52 miles. 250 watt miles is 4 miles a percent while I'm on the interstate going 60. Nice and smooth, cruise control on. Very easy to get very efficient numbers out of this car. Very efficient numbers. And now we roll. Now we got to get home, so now we roll.
I'm suggesting you to make sure that
driving through them beautiful, beautiful Pennsylvania mountains, people. Coming up on that Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania little corridor. Too pretty. As the video shows, we are clearly home, clearly back at the cabin, back at the homestead. We got Teslas to the right, Mercedes to the left, so you know we're home. All right, guys, it was just late getting home last night. It was too late. I didn't feel like shooting a video at the end. I was just tired. So all in all, the total trip, 1,197 miles. So a 2,000-mile trip up to northern Michigan and back. So Virginia, basically right outside of Washington, D.C. If you go to these mountains right here and you go way over those mountains at the far corners right there over that ridge, in about 15 more miles and you're actually in D.C. So anyway, total damage, 1,197 miles. Total energy used, 422 kilowatts. Total average energy consumption, 353 watt miles an hour. So on the simple math right there, that's about 2.5 miles. Let me get those exact numbers. Stand by. Exact numbers are 2.8 miles per kilowatt used. So it's like 2.8 and some change, but 2.8 miles per kilowatt used. And that basically breaks out to this at about 2.8 miles per 1% used. So that's not exact math right there, but if you look over here, every percent that drops, you should be getting about a 2.83 miles used. So it's kind of hard on that math, but that's about approximately right. So what do I think overall? Please remember, the conditions on the trip were not ideal for electric car uses. Guys, I have over 200 pounds of extra batteries in the car. I had a 150-pound child in the car. My son, teenager, he's big, tall, 6-footer. We had suitcases. We have spare tires. We have everything in this vehicle to get us through a crazy snowstorm or a crazy situation. On top of that, going through Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, you're going through some mountains, a lot of mountains. It was cold, a lot of headwind, and a rainstorm. So to be getting almost 3 miles a kilowatt while we're dealing with mountains, rain, cold temps, that ain't bad. So what's easier, man? Traveling in a gas, ICE vehicle or traveling in a electric car? I have a ton of ICE vehicles, and I've owned damn near every major electric car option out there. So Mercedes EQS 580, Model S Plaid, had that for 50,000 miles and sold it. We have Model X, Model Y, Model 3. We own all those. So we have experience in both, obviously. The only reason I'm saying that is to kind of show that, hey, we can quantify and qualify what we're saying with a lot of cross-country trips. Is it easy to travel in a Tesla? Absolutely, hands down, it's easy. Can the Model X do it when it's loaded down with bad weather conditions, bad time of the year, loaded to the max? Can it still get almost 3 miles a kilowatt? Absolutely, no problem. So, do I recommend it? Yes. Is it easier to travel in a gas car? I'd say probably, just because you don't have to worry about charging. However, for us, we really do enjoy stopping to charge, because every time you stop and charge, you're getting out of the vehicle, you're stretching, you're moving, you're taking some breaths, you're waking up. So in my opinion, it's a lot safer. So it's easy to do, a whole lot safer, it's a whole lot funner, and a whole lot faster.